Well, good evening, everyone. It is Monday, May the 9th. The time is 7 p.m. I welcome everybody to the regular meeting of Town Council. Welcome to all councillors, with the exception of Councillor McCrae, who sends her regrets. Welcome to CAO Jeff Baker, Deputy Administrator Wendy McKinnon, Municipal Clerk Kim Casely, Robert Wood, Manager of the Credit Union Centre, and Kyle Reid with the Journal Pioneer. Welcome as well to all those who are joining us from home. It's great to have you join us, and if you have your computers open, our agenda and all our reports are on our website, and you can follow along as we go along. Before we start, I want to acknowledge that the land upon which we gather is the unceded Mi'kmaq territory and is covered by the historic treaties of peace and friendship. We pay our respects to the Indigenous Mi'kmaq people who have occupied this island for over 12,000 years, past, present, and future. Council, the agenda is before you. There's no additions to the agenda as I have, so if there's nothing else that you have to add, I would entertain a motion to adopt the agenda as presented. So moved by Councillor Spencer, seconded by Deputy Mayor Pickering. All those in favour? Motion carried unanimously. Council, any conflicts of interest on any of the topics that are before us this evening? Hearing none, we'll move right along. There's no delegations tonight, so we'll move right along to our minutes of the April 11th meeting. Those minutes are before you. Are there any errors or omissions in the minutes of Monday, April the 11th? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to adopt the minutes of Monday, April the 11th as circulated. So moved by Councillor Spencer, seconded by Councillor Toombs. All those in favour? Motion carried unanimously. Thank you, Council. Any business arising out of the minutes of April the 11th? Hearing none, we'll move right along to reports. The first report is the Chief Administrative Officer's report. That report is before you. Are there any questions on the report for April the 2022? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to adopt the report as presented. So moved by Councillor Spencer, seconded by Deputy Mayor Pickering. All those in favour? Motion carried unanimously. Thank you, Council. The next is the Fire Department Statistical Report. That report is before you. Are there any questions on the Fire Department Statistical Report? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to adopt the report as presented. So moved by Councillor Toombs, seconded by Councillor Spencer. All those in favour? All those opposed? Councillor Gallant, were you have your hand up? Oh, sorry. Do you want to take a moment to? Motion carried unanimously. For any of those who are watching at home, we're having a little computer problem with one of our councillors, so we're just trying to get that sorted out. Do you want to project it on the television for him then?
I think he's okay there now. The CAO's report?
It's done. We're into the Police Department Statistical Report now. Okay. All right, Council. The Police Department Statistical Report is before you. Are there any questions on the Police Department Statistical Report? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to adopt the Police Department Statistical Report as presented. So moved by Councillor Toombs, seconded by Councillor Spencer. All those in favour? Motion carried unanimously. Thank you, Council. Next is the development permit summary report. That report is before you. Are there any questions on the development permit summary report? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to adopt the report as presented. So moved by Councillor Spencer, seconded by Councillor Toombs. All those in favor? Motion carried unanimously. Thank you, Council. Next is the bills list for the town. The bills are before you. The bills for the town are $306,890.90. Are there any questions on any of the bills? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to pay the bills, receive and pay the bills in the amount of $306,890.90. So moved by Councillor Mann, seconded by Deputy Mayor Pickering. All those in favor? Motion carried unanimously. Council, the bills for capital projects totaling amount of $335,188.16 are before you. Any questions on those bills? Councillor Spencer. Not working?
Thank you, Your Worship. Just curious on the T&K fire safety equipment, the Inotech suits, how many sets that is?
I believe that was 5? 5. 5 sets. Any other questions, Council? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to pay the bills in the amount of $335,188.16 for capital projects. So moved by Councillor Mann, seconded by Deputy Mayor Pickering. All those in favor? Motion carried unanimously. Thank you, Council. The bills list for the water and sewer utility are before you. Those bills amount to $11,175.03. Are there any questions on any of those bills? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to receive and pay the bills in the amount of $11,175.03. So moved by Deputy Mayor Pickering, seconded by Councillor Mann. All those in favor? Thank you, Council. That takes us right into the Credit Union Center report. No, pardon me, the summary income statement is first. Any questions on the summary income statement before you to the end of March 2022? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to receive and adopt the summary income statement at the end of March 2022 as presented. So moved by Councillor Mann, seconded by Councillor Spencer. All those in favor? Motion carried unanimously. Thank you, Council. Now I'm going to have to get a few reports open here. The next is the Credit Union Center report. That report is before you. Are there any questions on the Credit Union Center report? We do have our Credit Union Center manager with us tonight, so if there's any questions, good time to ask them. Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to receive and adopt the report for the March 2022. So moved by Councillor Spencer, seconded by Councillor Toombs. All those in favor? Motion carried unanimously. Thank you, Council. The next report is the Mayor's report. That report is before you. I think everything is fairly straightforward on that. I do want to make a couple of corrections. One, on the fire, I said fire department pumper, and it should have said fire department tanker. We thought we caught that before it went out, but I did make a mistake. I officially handed the keys to the captain of the new tanker, which was Mark Wall, and it wasn't to the deputy fire chief. He was there too, but I forgot who I gave the keys to. So my apologies to Mark Wall, and that report will correct that report to reflect Mark Wall as getting the keys to the tanker, and it will be called a tanker. Are there any questions on the Mayor's report as presented? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to receive and adopt the report as presented. So moved by Councillor Spencer, seconded by Councillor Toombs. All those in favor? That should be as amended. Thank you. And we are now into Federation of Prince Edward Island Municipalities. Councillor Mann, do you have anything to report?
Well,
You want to put your mic on, please?
Thank you, Your Worship. Yeah, our last meeting was the AGM. We had people attend there in person, and we had them virtually. We had address by the Premier. We also had an address by the Minister of Communities. And we also had a presentation award given that day as well. So congratulations to our CIO, Jeff Baker, for receiving the award that day. So yeah, we had some good presentations, and and a really, really good lunch. So
It was, wasn't it?
yeah, it was hard to keep concentrated there after a nice big turkey dinner. So
Yes.
that's it in a nutshell.
that's it. Any questions of Councillor Mann? And thank you, Councillor Mann, and congratulations officially to Mr. Baker on receiving the Bruce H. Yo Memorial Award. He well deserved. Heard of PEI initiative, Deputy Mayor Pickering, do you have anything to report?
Thank you, Your Worship. Not much to report this meeting. We're just tying up some loose ends from last year, and we have our proposal submitted to ACOA for review, and we haven't heard back yet.
All right, thank you. Councilor McCrae's not here for the Chamber of Commerce, and I think the only thing we have to report, I'll bring that up under other matters, was anybody who wants to attend the President's Dinner coming up this week. 55-plus games, Councillor Glant, did you have anything new to report on that?
Thank you. We've had a couple of meetings since, or at least one meeting since our last council meeting, and had a few more people attended. We've got chair people for about 4 or 6 events right at the moment, but we're still looking for more volunteers. Volunteers seem to be hard to get right at the moment. We do have, like I said, some event chairs for 5 or 6 events that we need other volunteers to get the games up to maybe around 12 is what we're kind of hoping for. And we do have another meeting tomorrow evening at 6 o'clock here at the town hall. So I'm hoping there is a few people that said they're going to attend, so I'm hoping they'll show up tomorrow night, and we'll move on with selecting what games we're going to have for sure. We're hoping to have that done by the end of the month. And yeah, just so anybody out there that you can talk to that would like to volunteer, send them our way tomorrow night, and hopefully we'll have more of an update by the next council meeting as to where we're headed.
So tomorrow night, 6 o'clock here in the town hall. Where's it, downstairs or?
Well, we have been holding them up here.
Okay.
We haven't had, the real high numbers in volunteers, but if we get more, then we'll have them downstairs.
All right, thank you, Councillor Glant. Any questions of Councillor Glant? Hearing none, we'll move right along to new business, request for decisions. The first request for decision, number 18, is the postage meter renewal for 5 years, and it's basically authorizing Mr. Baker and myself to sign the lease, which is over a period of 5 years. Are there any questions on the information before you? Hearing none, who would like to read into the Councillor or Deputy Mayor Pickering?
Be it resolved that the Town Council approve a 5-year lease with Pitney Bowes for the provision of postage metering services, and that the CAO, Jeff Baker, and Mayor Rowan Casely be authorized to sign the 5-year lease on behalf of Town Council.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Pickering. Do we have a seconder for that resolution? Seconded by Councillor Toombs. Any discussion? All those in favor? Motion carried unanimously. On the record reflect that Councillor Glant has excused himself from the room for a minute or two. The next item is request for decision number 19, which is the Go Fish mobile vendors license. That information is before you. Are there any questions? Councillor Toombs.
Is this a yearly that we have to?
Yes.
Okay, because I remember last year.
Yeah, it's an annual thing that that they apply every year because things could change, and they have to get proper documentation from the provincial government as well. So.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions, Council? Hearing none, who would like to read into the record the resolution? Councillor Toombs or Spencer.
Thank you, Your Worship. Be it resolved that Town Council approve the mobile vendor application from Karen Murphy and Trent Murphy to operate a Go Fish food truck located at 81 Victoria Street West, subject to full compliance with the town's mobile vendor bylaw and all other applicable municipal, provincial, and federal legislation and regulations.
Thank you, Councillor Spencer. Do I have a seconder for that resolution? Seconded by Councillor Toombs. Any discussion, Council? Hearing none, all those in favor? Motion carried unanimously, and Councillor Clan is still out of the room. Thank you. Request for decision number 20, which is the Credit Union Centre outdoor ice surface upgrades. We've had some discussion on that in the past. The information is all before you. Are there any questions? What's taking place there? Councillor Mann.
That's not a question, I guess, more of, I was just looking at the different quotes. One's, they're kind of different. One's a concrete curb, and the lower one is a asphalt curb, so I didn't know which curb you were actually looking for.
I think it's a asphalt curb. We're going with Mr. Wood. Do you know?
Yeah, they're both asphalt curbs. They do like a 6-inch curb. They don't do that. They don't do the cement ones.
Did you say cement on one of the quotes?
Yeah, the current break said concrete curb.
They mean the concrete that's already there. They'll put a 6-inch curb in front of it.
So it is an asphalt curb for both of them. Thank you, Councillor Mann. Any other questions? No questions? Then there are 3 resolutions that we need to have read into the record. Resolution number 1, who wants to volunteer to read that one? Deputy Mayor Pickering.
Be it resolved that the Town Council authorize the CAO to proceed with a scope change to its capital investment plan under the Canada Community Building Fund to reallocate $56,500 from the Parks and Recreation Improvements various project to the Credit Union Centre Outdoor Ice Surface Upgrades project. Town Council understands that all future operational costs associated with and resulting from the project will be the responsibility of the Town of Kensington.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Pickering. Do we have a seconder for that resolution? Seconded by Councillor Spencer. Any discussion, Council? Hearing none. All those in favour? Motion carried unanimously. Councillor Glant still not in the room. Resolution number 2. Who would like to read that one into the record? Councillor Toombs.
Be it resolved that Town Council award a contract to pave the Credit Union Centre outdoor ice surface to Hines Paving of, is it Somerville or Summerside?
Somerville.
Somerville, Prince Edward, as per their quote dated April 30th, 2022, in the amount of $41,500 plus HST. Conditional upon the approval of the Canada PEI Infrastructure Secretariat of the town's proposed scope change to the Canada Community Building Fund to reallocate $56,500 from the Parks and Recreation Improvements various project to the Credit Union Centre Outdoor Ice Surface Upgrade project.
Thank you, Councillor Toombs. Do we have a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Spencer. Any discussion, Council? Hearing none. All those in favour? Motion carried unanimously. Councillor Glenn's still not in the room. Hope he's okay. Okay, good. Resolution number 3. Council, any discussion on resolution number 3? This authorizes Mr. Baker to proceed with spending up to $15,000 on stuff for a skateboard park, etc., etc. Who would like to read into the record the resolution? Councillor Mann? You haven't had one for a bit?
Yeah, I don't know if it's long enough or not.
I know it's not long enough, Will.
Be it resolved that Town Council authorize the CIO to proceed with the fabrication and/or procurement of various outdoor furnishings for the Credit Union Centre outdoor ice surface, including 2 skateboard ramps, 2 skateboard rails, a skateboard grind box, a skateboard slap pad, 2 benches, and 2 garbage containers at a price not to exceed $15,000. Conditional upon the approval of the Canada PEI Infrastructure Secretariat of the town's proposed scope change to the Canada Community Building Fund to reallocate $56,500 from the Parks and Recreation Improvements various project to the Credit Union Centre Outdoor Ice Services Upgrade project.
Thank you, Councillor Mann. Do we have a seconder for that resolution? Seconded by Councillor Toombs. Any discussion, Council? Hearing none. All those in favour? Motion carried unanimously, and report that Councillor Glant's still not in the room. That is everything for request for decision number 20. We'll move right into request for decision number 21, which is the appointment of a municipal electoral officer and the deputy municipal electoral officer. That is required as per the report. by today, so second Monday in May. The- Hmm? Today's your birthday?
November 7th.
Oh. Ah, I thought today was your birthday. Okay. Well, in that case, we'll move right along.
Sorry.
Throwing me right off, Deputy Mayor Pickering. The appointment request is to appoint our municipal election officer and deputy municipal election officer to be Mr. Baker and Mrs. McKinnon. And the information before you, is anyone have any questions on the information? Hearing none, who has not read something in, who wants to volunteer? Councillor Toombs.
Whereas municipal elections are scheduled to take place on Monday, November 7th, 2022, and whereas town council are required under the Municipal Government Act to appoint a municipal electoral officer and a deputy municipal electoral officer on or before May 9th, 2022. Be it resolved that Kensington Town Council appoint Jeff Baker, Chief Administrative Officer, as the municipal electoral officer for 2022 municipal election. Be it further resolved that Kensington Town Council appoint Wendy McKinnon, Deputy Administrator, as the Deputy Municipal Electoral Officer for 2022 municipal election.
Thank you, Councillor Toombs. We have a seconder for that resolution, seconded by Councillor Spencer. Any discussion, Council? Hearing none. All those in favor? Motion carried unanimously. Report accordingly. Moving right along to request for decision number 22. That request for decision has to do with the approving a public meeting to consider rezoning a piece of property on Rosewood Drive. Councillor, are there any questions on the request for decision before you? This is just basically authorizing Mr. Baker to move forward with a public meeting to gather more information. It's not to approve the rezoning it, to gather more information. Hearing none, who would like to read into the record? Councillor Spencer, I think you've got your eyes on it.
Be it resolved that Town Council direct the CAO to proceed with scheduling a public meeting to gather further information in the consideration of an application to amend the Town of Kensington Development Control Bylaw and official plan to rezone PID number 762559 from its current single residential zoning designation R1 to a low-density residential zoning designation R2.
Thank you, Councillor Spencer. Do we have a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Toombs. Any discussion, Council? Hearing none. All those in favor? Motion carried unanimously. And Mr. Baker will set some dates and will advise us what those dates will be, and we can try to make sure we're available. Moving right along to welcome back, Councillor Glant. You're feeling okay, are you?
I don't know.
You're not sure?
I'm not sure.
Well, I hope you're okay. We're down to other matters now, Councillor Glant. And I guess the items I have a few things to mention. Number one, that this is National Nursing Week, March or May the 9th to the 15th, so I'd like to acknowledge that it is National Nursing Week and thank them for all the service, and they've gone above and beyond over the last couple of years, and we really appreciate all the efforts that they have done. Next is the Town Cleanup Day, which is scheduled for this Saturday, the same day as the PEI Women's Institute cleanup, May the 14th, from 9 till 10:30. And I have been advised that Luna Yoga, that operate out of the King George Place, are planning to join us and help us on that day, so they are looking forward to it. The Kensington Area Chamber of Commerce President's Night is coming up on the 15th? 17th. Does anybody know what day it is? I think it's Thursday night. This Thursday. And we have to, anybody who wants to go, we need tickets to, they wanted to know by today. Has anybody decided whether, Councillor Mann, are you going to be able to attend or not?
Not sure yet. So.
Okay. Councillor Gland? Councillor Toombs? Councillor Spencer? Deputy Mayor Pickering?
I am, but I will be late.
Okay, so we'll order tickets for you and I. And Mr. Baker, are you going?
I don't believe it, no.
All right. Mr. Wood? No? All right, we'll order a couple of tickets then. Okay, those are, oh, the other, no, I guess that's everything. Any other matters that council has? Councillor Glant, or is Tom, pardon me, Councillor Toombs.
It's just clarification. The mailbox is not staying down at the rink, I assume.
No, that's
Okay.
temporary location during construction.
Yes, I drove by there and saw that, and I was like, when did that arrive, and why is it here? And it took me a few minutes to realize where it got moved from, but I'm just making sure that somebody does, oh, that's a wonderful spot to leave it. So,
Yeah, no, that's what it is. Okay, just a piece of information. Public meeting is tentatively scheduled at this date for May the 25th at 6 p.m. at the Murray Christian Education Center. That has to do with the rezoning of property on Rosewood Drive, correct? No?
No, it's to do with our official plan and zoning
Oh,
bylaw
okay.
project.
Oh, okay.
And it is set up as a town hall meeting type of format, so it's just, really the meeting is
Oh,
to...
that's what that means.
Is to gather information, yes, my hand scratches.
Couldn't read your code.
It's to host a town hall meeting to get public input into the revisions to our official plan and zoning bylaw.
May the 25th at 6 p.m. at the Murray Christian Education Center. All right, thank you. Any other matters, council? Councillor Spencer.
Just curious if we have a date when the new police vehicle will be in service.
I was talking with the chief today, and it's getting the equipment installed. There was one piece of equipment that needed to be ordered and had to come from the States. It's supposed to be shipped out today. They're hoping to have it operational hopefully next week. That's the plan right now. But it's subject to arrival of some parts that were needed to be ordered. Any other questions, council? Deputy Mayor Pickering?
Just more of a comment. The Girl Guides did go out and do some cleanup a few weeks ago, and we had a free evening. There's still quite a bit of trash. We walked the Confederation Trail up to the high school, and we probably picked about 4 bags.
Yeah.
So there's lots out there.
Are the garbage cans out yet, Mr. Baker?
I don't believe they are. We're down to one person in Public Works right now, so we're limited in as to what we can do, but we hope to be back to full capacity by the end of this week, hopefully.
All right, thank you. Any other matters, council? Hearing none, we'll move right along to correspondence. Correspondence is before you. The first item on the correspondence is the newsletter from PEI Community Navigators, which is full of all kinds of information of the items that they are doing and the progress they're making. I certainly encourage you to read it all. The next item, when I get to the bottom of it, is a letter, or is the newsletter from the Kensington Area Chamber of Commerce. Again, it's full of all kinds of information of things that are taking place, and we certainly benefit from hearing all of the items that the Chamber of Commerce is involved in. It's good for the community and good for us. There's an emergency first aid course that for limited space availability. If anybody's interested in taking that, you should get in touch with Julie very quickly. There's a morning coffee mixer taking place on June the 2nd at 8:30 a.m. It's taking place down at Skierman's Family Farm. And there's, let's see, well, there's welcome new people, new members. We'll move right along to is the letter from the IWK Foundation, their fundraising event, encouraging us to, if we wish to make any further donations. We have agreed to make a donation of $1,000 per year to the IWK, and that will be done annually. I think that's a 10-year commitment we made. If we wish to make another special gift, then that would be over and above the $1,000. Council, any further discussion on that request? Or received for information? All right, received for information. Next item is a piece of information from Ashley Travis with the PEI Humane Society, and that's just basically thanking us that the town of Kensington has bought a memorial monument for the Walk of Paws when they get the building going down in Charlottetown, and that project has been delayed because they've actually doubled the size of it. I guess the plans are moving forward, and just information that they hope to have the building finished in the winter of 2023, and hopefully the paws of Walk of Paws, hopefully they'll have that installed in the spring of 2024. So that's received that for information. And the next is a request from the excuse me, a request from the 2022 Harvest Festival Organization Committee. We do have the chair of that committee here with us tonight, Robert Wood, and welcome, Robert. They are requesting a change in format for the Miss Community Gardens pageant. We have received some correspondence, which I've passed out to each of you from some information supporting, and I guess everybody's pretty well supporting to one degree. I think it's important that we take a look at this. This is a time of when inclusion and equity and making sure that we're meeting the needs of the community and where things should be going forward. The Harvest Festival Committee has looked at that a year ago, and they decided not to do anything last year, and they are requesting that we move forward now. They need to move forward in a timely manner. If they're going to get this thing going, they need to move forward, and they just want to get the town of Kensington to support the request. Council, that information is before you. Is there any discussion? Councillor Spencer.
I'd like to commend the committee on their leadership on that. I think it's a wonderful, positive step and very progressive for our community.
Thank you, Councillor Spencer. Any other discussion? Councillor Gallant.
Thank you, Your Worship. I certainly support change, and I think it's a good idea, but I also feel, as I spoke to yourself earlier today and Jeff, regarding the change coming forth without maybe looking or having the community or different organizations within the community or individuals have their input into it, because I think it's great that we've this Miss Community Gardens pageant's been going for what, 55 years, 50 plus years, and it's not something I would like to see leave without some sort of send-off. If we're going to have bring in something new, which is great, we can't forget the history of what the last 50 years has brought, and some input maybe from some former contestants, maybe some former winners, and other people who's been involved over the last number of years on the committee. I sat on the Harvest Festival Committee for 25 to 30, over 25 years, pretty near 30 years myself. So I certainly appreciate the fact what these volunteers do, and no matter what they do, there's always a time that, or there's always people out there that criticize or are not happy with their decisions. But in this case, I certainly appreciate what they're bringing forward, and I support it, but I also feel that we should look at our past, and it's something that we can bring our past and our future together at some point in time. Is it too late to do that this year? Maybe we continue on for this year and have a get together next year where former Miss Community Gardens can come together and kind of, you want to say, if we want to say goodbye to that and bring in our new venture, which I think is a good idea. But it's just the fact that I feel there should be more input from the community, like from various people that were involved over the years. And I think we all received some emails today from Laurie Prosper and Mr. McCarthy. I can't even think of his first name now. And there's another one here, I think, that we
Lindsay
received
Conway.
this evening. And it's all good input, and that's what I like to see. And I feel that we should leave it open for a little bit more input from the community before the change is made. I would like to defer this matter until our next committee of council meeting and give, I know myself, more time to speak to people within the community about it and get some more input, and then have it come to our next council meeting.
Thank you, Councillor Glenn. My feeling on that is that we're here to provide leadership, and I think that the request that's been made, the committee has reviewed this over the last year at least, and our responsibility is to take a look at whether it's right or wrong. And I think that if we're going to do it, talking to other people is not going to change our minds. If it's the right thing to do, I think we should proceed. Deputy Mayor Pickering.
Thank you, Your Worship. Just to speak on a few points of my thoughts on this whole thing, I think it's the perfect time to evolve the pageant to an ambassador role. I don't think it's taking an end to a pageant and making a new program. We're still going to have the same agenda. It's just being inclusive to all people. It could be straight, gay, non-binary, all sorts. So I don't think it's an end. I think it's an evolvement to this. And with that being said, I also believe that for the last 12 months we've sat around this room and we've talked about how we need to be leaders in this community on the reconciliations of the Indigenous people, the hockey PEI, with the racist acts that have been happening in our community and across Prince Edward Island. We've been talking about this quite openly and how we need to be leaderships, and this is just the next step and the next piece of the puzzle to make that whole, in my opinion.
Thank you. Any other comments, Council? Councillor Gland?
And I agree with you, but a couple other questions on it. I'm just curious, and maybe Robert could answer it as chairperson of the Harvest Festival Committee. Like, are we going to go by the same rules as the current Miss Community Gardens? Like, what will the age be? Will it be extended to? What would the age be? Is it just for our own community? I mean, can someone still enter from outside the community as they did before? Like we've had them from.
What do you mean by community?
Well, like we've had contestants enter before in the current Miss Community Gardens pageant could come from Charlottetown, they could come from anywhere.
Oh, okay.
Will that still be something that's in place? Well, what rules and regulations are they redoing the rules and regulations because we're changing it, or are we going to have the same rules and regulations as the current pageant?
All right, thank you, Councillor Glenn. I think Deputy Mayor Pickering might be able to answer some of that.
I can speak on behalf of that. Again, it's not about changing it or ending the pageant, it's about evolving it. So we're not changing the rules or the regulations of it, we're changing terminology and inclusiveness. That's it. So it'll still be first place, second, there'll still be the age requirement, it'll still be open to whoever was able to apply for it before. It's only welcoming all individuals.
Basically, it's, yeah, pardon me?
16 to 21.
16 to 21 age group.
And we plan on, if it's passed, to put this all
Robert, do you want to go to that microphone there, please? Thank you, Robert.
Thank you. Yeah, we discussed this, and basically it's going to be the same set of rules as the pageant, but we're going to identify them in a letter, go visit our sponsors that normally, we have 10 to 12 sponsors annually that sponsor participants. We're going to go to the schools as well, do a presentation. 3 years ago, Jamie Mose had started a leadership program for this and have a day for the participants to learn about leadership and self-improvement. So we're going to continue on that line, and it's Kensington area, and we are open to all, like we've had them from before with Charlottetown or Summerside with ties to Kensington, because usually the sponsors try to get someone that's local or associated that way.
All right, thank you, Robert. And I think basically what it's all about is to try and open it up to all genders and all, maybe I should say all youth and not exclusionary. And even nowadays, I don't know if the right word, if using the word miss is appropriate in today's day and age. You know, we're trying to learn what is appropriate. We're all struggling with it, I know. That's trying to figure out what's right and what's wrong, especially us older people like myself. Any other comments? Deputy Mayor Pickering?
I could go on all night. Another thing I'd like to point out is that the Gold Cup and Saucer Ambassador has evolved over the last few years too, and just in recent years, they have been inclusive to all individuals who would like to partake in it, and they have had a few gentlemen partake in the few years. So we're not the first to propose this, and we're probably not going to be the last, absolutely. I would like to see the town of Kensington be proactive instead of reactive to this, and set a good foot forward and be leaders on this topic.
Thank you, Deputy. Any, Councillor Glant?
I just got one other, I'm glad that Robert came, and because that was some of my questions, and reading, I think Laurie's email, she was specific of whether we should, or whether they go to the schools, and you're saying that that's already in progress as far as...
Yeah, like our initial discussions as we came with the guidelines, and we said we wanted to do this, and in discussions with Jeff and Rowan, we want to make sure the town council approves anything before we go ahead and do that, but we already have, and we're having a meeting after the decision here to decide it, and have a strategy to go forward, but it's all about communication and having it down in writing, and then everybody gets it in paper, there's no confusion, we want to make sure that it's clear and open to everyone.
Oh, still on. Okay, that's great, because that was my concern, because it was, I hadn't heard about it prior to getting the agenda on the weekend. So, and I didn't realize it was going on for a few weeks or a few months, and so that's and I reached out to some people today as well, including Laurie, and asked her, and I was glad she brought her thoughts forward, because she made a lot of good points in there, and I'm hoping the committee will look at that, and maybe they could get a copy of that email, because she really made a lot of good
Robert
points in
already
there.
has a copy.
Okay, and I think that's important.
Yeah. Thank you, Councillor Spencer, and then Deputy.
Thank you, Your Worship. There's two things I was going to mention, if I can. One was a suggestion I had when I was reading the list of events, maybe if we could rebrand the Fisherman's Challenge to the Fishery Challenge or the Fishers Challenge or something like that, also to be inclusive.
Yeah, I think Robert has already got that in his to-do list. We talked today on it.
Great.
But thank you, Councillor Spencer.
And also, I would like to make a motion then that we accept the recommendation of
Yeah.
the...
I think, did you have something to say first? No? Okay, good. Then, you, before a motion, anybody, any other comment? You would, okay. I'll come back to you.
The only thing that I would have liked to have, would have been, personally, it would have been nice that, since it's been going on, I would have liked to have had this at the last committee of council, which is generally how we do things, and then you'd had that, and, you know, just to, normally that's how, you know, we do things, is you have a committee council, we talk about it, you chew it out. We also have a little bit of time if we want to, instead of just coming out on Friday and here we are Monday, and it was kind of a poor weekend with Mother's Day and all that stuff. I didn't spend a whole lot of time in front of the computer. I had other things to do, let's put it that way, we'll say, with Mother's Day weekend. So it would have been nice to have had a little more time to go over that. Normally we do. And if I'm wrong, please correct me.
Thank you. Any other comments? Councillor Spencer, you were prepared to make a motion?
Yes, Your Worship, I'd make a motion that we accept the recommendation of the Harvest Festival Organizing Committee.
Thank you, Councillor Spencer. Do we have a seconder? Second by Deputy Mayor Pickering. Any further discussion, Council? Councillor Glant.
Just one other comment. So I just want to reaffirm that, so the committee hasn't set all the guidelines in place yet. They're still working on it. It's not set to go right now.
There's no guidelines set except for the ones that I basically had said, and we'll take guides from council. And like you say, Lori has a lot of great things to do that we'll bring to everybody, and then we'll put down strong guidelines for everybody in writing.
And so if there is people in the community or organizations or individuals that have questions, then they can directly go to the committee then? Is that their best bet, or
Sure, yeah.
with suggestions?
And we'll
or
also put stuff on the town website as far as information, so that everybody have a good chance to read it.
Okay.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Pickering.
I remember what I was going to say. Thank you. To Ivan's point of involvement in getting people's feedback, today I had a resident of Kensington reach out to the Peer Alliance and let them know that this would be a topic of discussion tonight, and they're very happy to come on and help guide us through this involvement. And I was also given Carolyn Black's name from up at the high school, who works towards the inclusiveness of all youth, and I'm sure she would love to come on and give us some guidance to move forward.
Thank you. I think that's, it's a good move for us to be considering. Any other comments, council? Hearing none, ready for the question, I guess, are we? All those, and the motion is that we approve the recommendation of the Harvest Festival Committee to form, what's it called, the Youth Ambassador Program, and set up all the parameters and guidelines and everything going forward without forgetting our past, but changing into the future. Okay. All those in favor? Motion carried unanimously. Thank you, council. I think that's a good move on everyone's part, and I thank you for it. I think that's positive. There is no committee of the whole tonight, and unless there's something else to bring before council, I would entertain a motion to adjourn. I will look for Councillor Toombs to get his hand up, because he's always got his hand up first. Moved by Councillor Toombs, seconded by Councillor Spencer. All those in favor? Motion carried unanimously. Thank you, council. It is 7:47 p.m. and thank you to all those who have joined us from home. Hope you have enjoyed the evening, and we'll see you next month.